So, anyways, now that Actron's a dragon, Campago and Luciano are back in the Duchess's estate. The Duchess is heavy with child, and the God of Time is dead. Uneven time's been launched upon the world. Um, what happens next? Two things. One, three things actually. One, Campago dies, so Luciano is left by himself. Now he has to work as a groundskeeper. Number two, the Duchess completes the Church of Squalor. Well, it's not called that yet. She completes the cathedral for Intrepidicles. And then, upon the completion of it, and she's giving a little speech down there, and she's like, boom, pregnant, like just about to burst pregnant. And she's been pregnant for now 9 years. So, she's giving a little speech, and who should help show up? Not Intrepidicles, whom she thought might show up, but rather Curtis. Now, Luciano had a pretty cool moment here when Curtis shows up because, Curtis pops in at the opening of this cathedral, and of course, he has a voice that just cuts through anything. He speaks quietly, like my volume, but it cuts through any sound or talking at all, and everybody just shuts up and listens, because it's Curtis, the god of text and of naming things. So he shows up, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Luciano," and so everyone asked him about that afterwards. Obviously, he didn't. He just wouldn't answer. He's like, don't worry about it. And that, of course, made him extra cool. So that was a nice bonus that you didn't expect for this whole occasion. Anyway, Curtis goes up to the cathedral and he says, "This is hereby named the Church of Squalor," and he imprints it with his magical naming hand, and that's what it's called thereafter. Now, the very next day, who was born in Intrepidicles' his kid, whose name is Elias, and the Duchess does not kill Elias. She wants to, but something stays her hand, and she's not sure what it is. She suspects it's um, a mother's reflexive uh, disinterest in killing her own child. But she's not sure. She's not very in touch with her feelings. And anyway, what she does instead is she ships him off to be raised by who knows whom. What she does basically is say, "All right, look, now that I've got your cathedral, I've got you church people here. It's the Church of Squalor is here now. And there's the clergy of Squalor, and the bishop of Squalor, and the archbishop of Squalor. And needless to say, um, they're sometimes not that sensible, these people. Um, she's got it worked out, though, so that she gets a cut of all their little church fees and stuff, and it's a good arrangement for her, but they are a pain in the ass, and they do have a certain amount of legitimacy now, and she does have to kind of wrestle with them a bit, and she's got to do all the politics stuff with them. And so the Archbishop, Captain something, Captain Baker, Archbishop Captain Baker, right? He's the first Archbishop, and he goes in there and he's like, "Hey, yeah, things are going great, good. I know. You want me to take the kid? We, the clergy of Squalor, are great with him." And he's already drunk. He's like shit-faced, because it's the clergy of Squalor. And that's what they do. They just get drunk and smoke weed and just roll around and stuff. So anyway, they make all the mistakes that your NPs make. So that's why this got us some confusion. Anyhow, she says, "I know what I'll do. I will just give this baby to this totally drunk and incompetent Archbishop Squalor, and it's sure to die." But instead, somehow, they get that baby, and it ends up Squalor is planning to raise the kid themselves, but due to their being drunk, they accidentally ship him to Portugal. And once he's in Portugal, he gets raised by the Church of Curtis, which is a much better place to be raised, and a much better church, really. So, Elias Cork is what's it called? I forget what the word is. Like an acolyte or something. like a beginning kid at the Church of Squalor. And what they have to do there is they have to learn to um, communicate via form only without meaning is basically the goal. But they can't be advocating anything ever. There's no advocacy allowed. They can channel the true gospels of the pantheon, which they have, and that's how come I know the story, and write them down and share them with the people. And when they do that faithfully and well, they will produce text that is very resonant as true and enjoyable to read and all that stuff. And, however, they must be cautious because the clergy of Curtis do have the capacity to engage in what's known as meaning smithing. Now, meaning smithing is the use of text to create a new reality. And it's a kind of spell that people don't like, and people don't trust meaning smithers. And the Church of Curtis is very vigilant about not letting any of their clergy do that. So Elias Cork's in the Church of Curtis, and he's learning to channel language. And he's really good at it. And he's also way, way older than anybody else in his grade. He looks like he's 10 years old. You're not supposed to get admitted to the school or to be a member of this clergy until you're 12 at the minimum. But he's actually been alive for like 30 years. But he still has the physical brain of a child because he's not a grown-up yet. And so he's a weird person. He's got troubles with the fact that he thinks he's smarter than everybody else, and he thinks he's a better writer than all the people in the Church of Curtis. And they're the ones who are the clergy of this particular medium. So obviously this is a little troublesome, but the other thing they are is quite objective. And they do recognize that he's got insanely good talent. But at this point now, when he's looks to be almost 17 or 16 now, and he's actually like 45 or who knows how old he is, but they say, look, we got to, you keep not making it to full sibling status, and we can't promote you, and you're going to be stuck here forever, or we don't know what to do with you, basically. Well, why can't you promote me? And so they go through this fight they've had many times before, which basically says, we acknowledge that you're a better writer, but you're not doing it with the right motivations, and you do not seek to channel the truths of Curtis. You seek to advocate, or you seek even if you do seek to channel the truths of Curtis, to the extent that you do so well, you want to defeat others, and that's not in the spirit of the Curtisarian Church. So Elias Cork is furious at this person who once again ruled against him, goes back to his room, and he decided he's going to leave. But he does one last thing before he leaves, which is he writes something on a piece of paper, and he puts it on an appeal, like he has many times before, had made an appeal of these rulings that happen again and again, and on an appeal. Why? Well, because his advisor or judge or whoever these people are that are evaluating the circumstance has to read his appeal. He knows this, and remember, he's an extremely talented Curtisarian. He includes in that note a meaningsmith spell. And it's a meaningsmith spell that removes from the reader of the spell any sense of that individual's distinction or worth in the medium in which all the people there were engaged, namely language. So she reads the spell, screams, and Elias Cork can hear a little bit of the echoes of her screams as he's hiking briskly away from the Church of Christ. Next part coming up soon.